So the government shutdown is making many people across the country very anxious for different reasons. Federal workers, a lot of them, they're not getting paid. No more paychecks for hundreds of thousands of federal workers. And then we have millions of Americans across the country that depend on SNAP, the food benefit. They are literally not going to have food on the table starting next month. And for the politicians, it's for a different reason. Politicians are getting nervous about their re-election. Maybe they don't have the same funding to secure their seat in power within Congress. And that's a big topic of concern for many lawmakers. Now, what we're seeing is a little concerning. We have a group of lawmakers that are now thinking about exercising the nuclear option to resolve the government shutdown. What is that? What is the nuclear option? Seems ominous, right? Well, essentially, they're toying around with the idea of bypassing the Senate filibuster. Right now, to pass legislation, you need 60 votes in the Senate. It doesn't matter if you have a majority. You can't do it on a simple majority. You need to do it on something called a super majority. And that's 60 votes in the Senate. So that's what they're calling the nuclear option. Doesn't make a lot of sense to do it, though, because if you have the party that's in power, yeah, get rid of the filibuster. Everyone thinks it's a great idea. But as soon as the other party is in power, so in this situation, let's say the Democrats are in power, and there is no more filibuster, they can force whatever law they want with a simple majority. So every party that's in power usually thinks it's a great idea for the time being. It is the short-term solution. You are solving today's problem and ignoring tomorrow's problem. It's also dangerous because it sets a new precedent. Now, this has been done when it comes to nominations. They have gotten around the filibuster. But when it comes to new legislation, it hasn't been done. The laws right now that govern the filibuster in the Senate, it's been there for 50 years. The way that we understand, the way that we know it, the 60 vote supermajority, that's been there since 1975. And we've had people from both parties, they come and they entertain the idea, maybe we should get rid of it. Maybe it shouldn't be there anymore. But as a country, we should want to preserve the debate. The Senate was designed that way. That's the way it was conceived. They imagined the Senate 100 members, right? So it's a lot smaller than the House. The House has over 400 members. The Senate has 100. You got 100 senators, 2 from each state. It was there for discussion, to have that discussion, to have that debate. And by completely taking it away, you're undermining the minority party. You know, there's real Americans that vote for their senator that represents their party, and you're completely ignoring that. Now, let's see what's being said. We have Representative Chip Roy out of Texas who argues that the 60 vote traps Republicans in a broken system. Many people, they don't think this is a broken system. This is the way the system was designed to function. So he suggests a lower 50 vote threshold for CRs, for continuing resolutions. And there's other politicians that agree. They're saying, okay, we've carved out an exemption when it comes to nominations. Let's just keep carving. Let's keep carving this pumpkin up, and we'll carve out another one as it pertains to shutdowns, as it pertains to continuing resolutions. And then we have Representative Green, Marjorie Green from the state of Georgia. She went on X and she posted this. She basically said, Senate Republicans could reopen the government this week. She urged them to wield their power decisively. She also said that the Democrats, the next time that they have the majority in the Senate, the next time that they're back in power as the majority, they would do the same thing. So she's saying the Republicans should do it now because the Democrats are eventually going to do it anyway. You know, I mean, when it comes to Marjorie Green, this is the usual extreme approach that we're used to when she posts on X. And interesting thing about her is she was the first Republican really that made headlines for pushing back on her party when it comes to healthcare subsidies. That's what this whole thing is about. The government is shut down because Democrats, they want to extend the premium subsidies to the Affordable Care Act. And Marjorie Green, because of her kids, she acknowledged that her kids, their premiums would skyrocket 2 to 3 times. Talking about 200% or more. That's how much their premiums would go up. She said the Republican Party has been ignoring the everyday American and what they have to pay in order to have decent health care. So that's real interesting. Now, on the Democrat side, you wouldn't think that the Democrats would be for, getting around the filibuster at this time, not in 2025, but we have Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania. He's supporting the carve-out option. That's the same thing Chip Roy was saying, but basically, he's saying that when it comes to government shutdowns and continuing resolutions, it could be a practical move. Now, Senator Fetterman, he's been voting with the Republicans every step of the way when it comes to this government shutdown, which has surprised some people, and he's been receiving a lot of heat, a lot of pushback from his own party in the Senate. But despite the growing chatter that we are hearing from lawmakers, the congressional leaders that are in power right now, they don't want anything to do with it, at least not right now as we're talking about it in the end of October. Maybe next month they might have a change of heart, a change of opinion, but right now they don't want to do it. They want the discussions to continue. And if you can't reach a compromise, if you're not capable of having discussions with somebody who disagrees with you, maybe you just lose your seat in the next re-election. Now, as for the government shutdown, when will it end? Go over to Polymarket because you have people that are spending millions of dollars on this guessing game. The game of when is the government going to reopen? And if you look today, it seems like most of the money is saying the government should be no longer shut down on November 23rd. So that's like 4 days before Thanksgiving. That's what the money is saying. There's also a 4% chance that it reopens this week. So that's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be more pain moving into the month of November. So unfortunately, we're still seeing and hearing federal workers go without paychecks. Now, some people are getting paid in the federal government and others are not. Hundreds of thousands of people are not getting paid right now. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into that issue and figure out who's getting paid, who's not getting paid, what's the context behind all of that, I want you to check this video out next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.